Hey guys, welcome back to Tom's 100 Hectare Homestead. In today's video I'm going to show you how to pollinate a phalenopsis orchid. It's very simple, and what I'm going to show you is where to take the pollen from and where to place the pollen in. So this is the phalenopsis orchid that I'm going to pollinate, and yeah, let me show you how to do it. Hey guys, so this is the flower that I'm going to be pollinating. So as you can see that in front of me, I'm going to take the pollen from the anther of this flower, and I'm going to place it in the stigma of this flower. You should never take the pollen from the anther and from this flower and place it in the stigma of this flower. You should never put the pollen from the same flower into the stigma of the same flower. You should always do it in separate flowers. You can, however, go and take pollen from another orchid flower, but it has to be the same genus, so it has to be Phalaenopsis and a Phalaenopsis. You can't go do a Dendrobium and do a Phalaenopsis. It won't work. And you will end up maybe making your own breed or color variety of orchids. And yeah, so once pollination has occurred, you'll see that the leaves will start to actually fall off, the petals will start to fall off of the flower bud that you've pollinated, and the stem of the flower will actually swell up. Those are the seeds forming. The plant that you choose to take pollen from should be a nice, healthy orchid. It should have lots of vibrant flowers, waxy leaves, and you should never take a pollinate an older flower. You should always use one of the newest flowers. So let's get to it. So I'm going to use a toothpick, and I'm just trying to focus it, and you'll see on this one right in between here, so right over here, if there'll be a little flap that you have to pull like so. That is then my pollen. You'll see that the pollen is actually in a sac or casing, and you have to actually take it out so that you're just left with the pollen like so. Then since I've taken the pollen from this flower, I'm going to go to this flower, and underneath the anther is where I took the pollen from. So I took the pollen from over there. Underneath it is where you're going to have to place the pollen. There's actually a nice little cup for it, and oops, I dropped it, and you're going to want to place the pollen right up in there. So you're going to go place it. You're going to go and place it in there. Oh, I don't know why this one isn't sticking. Sometimes it happens where the actual one isn't sticky enough, so you might have to go to another flower. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, there we go. So you go, yes. There we go, and you want to place it inside. That's obviously the other one, but you're going to want to place the pollen inside that little piece, and which is called the stigma, and that's where you're going to. I'm going to just quickly take pollen from another flower. There we go. Yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to place it inside there. There we go. So I placed it inside with a lot of hard effort, and I have moved it around a little bit, and I will then mark which one I have pollinated. And yeah, so if you do want a seed pod, you can germinate the seeds, but that requires quite a long process. You have to use something called flasking, and flasking is quite a difficult process because you have to make sure that there is no contamination at all, and you have to, because if there is a little bit of contamination, then the flasking will fail, and you have to have the right growing medium, which is agar, and you have to make sure that you have them at the right temperature and they have the right humidity. But the one problem is that they'll take about 5 to 6 years for your seedlings to actually produce a flower. But yet again, you will probably have thousands of baby orchids. And I've never tried it because I don't have the right equipment to do it. You might have to get a laminar flow cabinet, which many commercial growers use, or you can make your own at home, and but obviously the succession rate isn't very high. And there are easier ways to produce your own baby orchids, which is by means of keiki paste. But here in South Africa, we don't really, you get keiki paste, but it's very, very, very expensive. I just try and let them produce their own keikis, and I just try and let them produce their own keikis. And yeah, so that is how you pollinate your own Phalaenopsis orchid. You'll start to see that the petals will drop off, and I will keep you updated throughout the process. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.